So I'm going to run through a couple more things. One is kind of a piece of new material, um, but I'm just going to briefly cover it. This is a save it for later, not use it right now kind of a thing. Okay. So, and the reason for that is because it's not super common, but you should know about it because you will see it out there in the wild, and I don't want you to be confused by it. So, one more new data type, and just so that you can, have something to think about when you're laying awake at night. We haven't covered all the data types that are out there, uh, but we have covered most of the commonly seen ones. Okay, so this type, there's a bit of debate about how it's pronounced. I tend to say Tuples. I don't know, maybe it makes me think of Tupperware, which is kind of a fun thing, but a lot of people say Tuples. I I don't really care how you say it. Um, it's really one of those GIF sort of discussions. And there's one every single class that I've ever said this in. There's somebody who mutters under their breath, "It's GIF," or the other one. Uh, my son insists that it has to be GIF because the creator of the graphics interchange format says that that's how it should be pronounced. Yeah, the graphics. Yeah. Um, I my whole logic around it is I would say GIF if I was really concerned about how to pronounce it, because if you put a T on it, you have a gift, right? You don't have. I don't give you Christmas gifts, uh, but but all that to say is I sort of flip back and forth on the GIF thing. Tuples, I almost always say tuples. I don't know, and I don't really care. Um, So maybe that's a good question for ChatGPT. Maybe ChatGPT can inform our discussion there. Tuples are a data structure that you won't see very often, but they do have some specific purposes. They're very similar to a list in that they're indexed, but the main difference is they're immutable. You cannot change them once you create them. Now, why would you want a list that you can't change once you create it? And that doesn't mean you can't go back and change your code. That means while the program is running, the value of any of these can't be changed. The order can't be changed. Nothing can be changed about it. So what's a tuple used for? Very frequently used for program settings. If you just want to set some values, like maybe I have a color scheme that I want to use where I have 3 or 4 colors defined for my user interface on a program. And I want those in a setting so that I can easily change them, but they're not going to change during runtime. So I might use it that way. The big place that you're probably going to run into tuples, honestly, isn't when you create them. It's going to be when you encounter functions and modules in Python that want you to send parameters as a tuple. One of the common things that I've seen done is it will say coordinates is the name of the parameter, and it will look for an X and a Y value as a tuple. So that's the sort of thing when you might see a tuple, that's what they would be used for. That's why it's nice that they can't be changed in their order or the values. They're very simple, but they do have some value, and it's important to know about them because you will see them out there. So the easiest way to recognize them is to look at the difference in how they're presented. This is a dictionary. Obviously, it has the key value pairs and also the curly braces, aka the mustaches. Uh, the list has square brackets when it's defined, and the tuple is in parentheses. Obviously, we use parentheses for a lot of other things, but when we use parentheses as the value with an assignment operator, what we're doing is creating a tuple. Now, if I had a word right before this, I would assume that it was that those were parameters for a function. But since I'm doing x equals, I'm creating a tuple here.